I think they're doing a really good job. I'm pretty impressed with them.
So here is the agenda on your screen. I've got the report on that I'm going to cover with them, the difference from the 5-semester and the 3-semester add-on. I'm going to cover that. The appendices, the course descriptions. So that's when I'm going to, introduce the suggested clinical activities, but I'm also going to talk to them about the electronic portfolio of the 6 evidence artifacts and what access they'll need to be able to do those. And that's what we're talking about, is that access.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that I'm going to cover. As you can see, I have that on the list of things that I need to cover with them. I'll give them an overview. That's one of the things from the collaborative event that we did a couple of weeks ago when we had the principals and superintendents in. That was one of the things that they suggested in this meeting. They first of all said we needed to do this meeting, but the second thing they suggested is the list of activities is pretty self-explanatory. But what they wanted is an explanation to their principals of what are the evidence artifacts, what data, what access will they need, where they can kind of sit down and plan that out. Now, as I've told you, I sat down and planned out activities for a CTE teacher at Myers Park, Darlene Sanders, with Mark Bosco, the principal. And one of the things that we had to kind of hash out or come to an accommodation of was, number one, her time as a CTE teacher. That's federal, and you can't just be getting them substitutes or signing them or doing those things was number one. But number two, what level of access of data that she would need as not a regular classroom teacher. She only had access to CTE data. I wanted her clinical experience to be wider than that. And so we had to sit down and kind of hammer out by looking at each of the 6 evidence artifacts, what level of access that she would need to do that. Now, that was, you don't get a lot of those, but you get some. But hopefully we can head off some of those problems or issues if we can get the information out to the site supervisors or site mentors, as we call them now. This is the access. You've agreed for this person to be in the program. Now this is the level of access that they need to be able to complete the task that we assigned them. And that's what this meeting is going to be about next week, as you can see, is
Yeah, I think that'll be helpful.
As good as you allow us to prepare them to be.
Right.
And superintendents want them prepared better.
Yeah, well, I actually called the South Carolina State Department, and the person I talked with said that the only way they could release the data was there's some kind of a form that can be filled out, but you would have to request the form and fill it out and tell them exactly what data you wanted. Well, by that time, our interns will be out of the semester,
That's what I was gonna say. They'll be as old as I am when that happens. That's not
right.
The key is to get the principal involved and get them to turn the data loose.
Gene, was that just in one district? Because I've got about 11 or 12, and I've had no problems with them getting the data that they needed. So I'm just wondering if it's just in one district in South Carolina.
It was 2.
Oh, wow.
Richland 1 and...
Yeah. In Columbia, Richland 1, you'll have problems there.
So, it's the district, and they're just saying it's...
Yes, I started out there with Jerry, and forgive me for getting Jerry's last name. Jerry was my first intern. He was the band director at Columbia High School. He was my first South Carolina intern in Columbia. And I'd had a few in Charlotte that worked across the line in Rock Hill and Fort Mill and never run into this. And then I had to go 2 times and meet with his principal. And so what they did in order, which was, I thought, very thoughtful and very nice of them, they put Jerry on the school leadership team so he would have access to that data.
Good job. This is York District 1 and Lancaster County.
Yeah. Oh. But that's what happened in Richland 1. In order to get Jerry that data, they just gave him that access by putting him on that team. And Jerry, by the way, was a great intern and they ended up being very happy to have Jerry. They were very cautious in the beginning. but ended up that Jerry ended up being a real asset to their school leadership team. And they loved the things that he brought in, that he was learning in the program, and brought some of those things to their school leadership team. And it turned out in the end, you know, they didn't want to shoot me when I showed up on campus.
Well, hopefully you can convince them that the teachers would do a much better job if they knew what their kids didn't know.
And part of what we talked about at the collaborative conference is we want these folks to understand that this can be mutually beneficial, not only for the student getting trained, but they can be a lot of help on your campus, furthering a lot of the things that you want to do. I mean, use these people wisely, and they're good help.
Extra set of hands.
Exactly. Yep. And so I had the same problem at HB Rain in Richland District 1. I had 3 interns there at the same time. And then I had one of the little downtown schools, Mary Cooper was there. And so, yeah, I've been through that. And I wore the road out going to Columbia the first 2 semesters with them. I think I made probably six visits in 2 semesters, three times each, to kind of get all that hammered out. So yeah, I understand.
Well, you know, I had Mary the last 2 semesters. I had Mary. Mary did well.
Mary did well. Mary was, but the problem is Mary was behind with all 5 of those. The problem was getting them through that first semester and getting them access. They all kind of got behind at the beginning.
Well, I had them at the end, so all that had been done by the time I got them.
By the time you got them, I'd already, you know, they'd already put all them bruises and knuckle bumps on me by then. Yeah, I know, but if you'll remember, yeah, you had Mary, and we had Tabitha Boyd, and Mary, and Jerry, and Stephanie Johnson. Yeah, and so we got off to a really slow start, unfortunately, with them, but we did some extra work, and we got them caught back up, and they ended up being great interns. I was very pleased. Now, but that's why I assigned the Columbia interns to Mark this time rather than to myself. I'll let him fight some of those battles and beat his head against that rock for a while.
Yeah, he's been there twice. Yeah. And both times the principal said he was going to release the data, but what he did, he released the Lexile information. And actually what we did was to allow the student to use the principal's word, that the African-American male's word, the select group, and she could move forward into task 2 and 3.
You know,
hoping we'd get the data by the time she gets to the final document.
I've done that plenty of times where, you know, the principal said this is our most pressing need. And I've told the students, well, then just take it and run with it.
That's it.
It's important that you learn how to disaggregate that data. But for the purposes of doing this, I don't want to hold you up.
Well, she's disaggregating all the Lexile information she can from every way, trying to, so she's doing the kind of research she's going to have to do if she's in a school system that won't give her what she needs.
Yeah, that's
what you have to do.
I mean, the quality of that intern is dependent upon the district, the experience. And I've said it 1,000 times, the level of access that interns get is the determining factor of the quality of their experience.
Right.
The level of the access that they get. And so, one of the things that I've often pleaded with principals, I give them, the Mayberry example is be like Barney, don't give her a loaded gun or him a loaded gun, but let them carry a bullet. Have a little bit of authority, a little bit of autonomy. You don't just have to, turn the keys over to them, but you've got to give them a little bit, and they can be an asset too. While I'm on that, I'm going to kind of shift into pacing. I'm getting concerned on pacing. Now, let me give you a micro-political overview here. I don't think that we're going to be allowed to drop students who are behind on their evidence artifacts into a 699 at the end of this semester. That was partial of the original plan, especially for the add-on licensures. Instead of waiting until after all their classes were taken, our plan is to drop them into 699. With the financial crunch here at the university, not in the graduate school, but the undergraduate, I don't feel like there's that they're going to entertain that in any way. Now, I say that after having last Friday afternoon I'm on the budget committee here, and after having attended the budget meeting, they said directly that the Graduate School of Education and the nursing school are keeping the doors open on the place right now. And they're so excited that we've moved to South Carolina and opened up some new streams of revenue. And so they're not interested in closing that stream of revenue off in terms of us dropping them into a fee-only internship rather than getting tuition money next semester. So they're not interested in that. They're not going to let us fail them for not doing their clinical experience either, because then they'd have to sit out for a year and they wouldn't get their money. And so we're just going to have to figure out a way to try to get them through. And pacing is the key. Yep. I have not made Dale's notes as you know, as I know popular opinion, but I've not made Dale's notes. I have made a template for the AppSell. I've resisted making one for the AppTel. Danny's twisting my arm, but I hadn't made it yet. But the template is just an expression of the directions. I told you that before. We were seeing work that was more narrative informed, like journal writing, and so I made that template. It is not notes; it's a template. And what we have found now, Danny can speak to it better than I can. But what we have found is it has helped us with our pacing. We've got all add-ons, and we've got them up to task 4, and our goal is we're in week 6. Our goal is to have them submitting for evaluation during week 8. So we've got them up to task 4 already. We'll move to task 5 next week, and then the following week we're moving for evaluation. Now,
some of them will be ready by week 7 at this point.
We want all of them by week 8. Now, yeah. I think the work is excellent. It's getting better each task. We can see that it's getting more complete and better each task. But we just had to turn it loose and not hold on to them so tightly. And, you know, when they hit what we consider to be proficiency, we've moved them on. And then the next task, 100% has been better. And each task seems to be getting better as we go. But keeping our eye on that pacing, you know, the pacing is we'd like for add-on licensure to be submitted to TaskStream by the 8th week. That gives 2 weeks for the evaluators to send work back or to work or to grade. Then at 10 weeks, we're expecting the regular students who are in the regular master's program, the 5-semester program, we want their AppSells submitted to TaskStream in the 10th week, because guess what's happening in the 12th week? Our add-ons are submitting their AppTel in the 12th week so that it can be done and out by the 14th week. I don't like passing students on and letting it be somebody else's problem next semester when they're behind. We've done that too much, and I'm always the one that has to take them and try to figure out a way to get them through. And so, you know, to that effect, you know, today's Tuesday. Guess what I got to do Sunday afternoon rather than watch the second half of the ball game? I was doing legacy intern session Sunday afternoon for the ones that are behind. If you were behind, you had to be with me Sunday afternoon. And I got to do 4 hours with them Sunday. But I don't mind the work. I will never complain about the work. But, you know, if they're not going to let us drop them into 699, if you can't hold them back, if you can't drop them out of the program, we just got to find a way to get them going faster and get them paced.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not going to meet our, we're not going to have them done by the end of the semester.
Let me tell you something that has, and you know, some of it is trial and error. You learn through the process. But what I have found is once we realize that they are at least proficient, as they're progressing on their own, they're communicating back and they're saying, can I go back and fix so-and-so, because they're realizing things now. So they're learning and going back, and because it's still in the draft form, they're fixing it themselves, and the ahas are coming on right now. So
that'll help next semester.
Right.
Yeah.
Dale, where is the template? Is it in the intern materials in that?
It is, and I can email it to you, but it is in the intern materials.
Okay.
Well, let me show it to you. It's just an expression. It is just an expression of, let me see here. have to move this out of the way.
While Dale's looking for that, he knows the personalities of some of them we're dealing with. I had 2 to call me the weekend, and these were their words. I need a counseling session. One of them lasted for about an hour, one lasted for about an hour and a half. The weekend.
We've got a couple that are as needy as I've ever had in my life, and they're in a 3-semester program, and I thought, why in the world?
One told me, she said, I need you to talk me off the ledge.
Yeah. At least she knows the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of work. They're having to learn to balance, but they're getting better at it.
All right. So what we've done here is I've made them a template. Everything in black stays. Under PLC must include a minimum of 3 sources and be written in include complete discussion, candidates be able to go when yours to be written. So I've told them exactly, just the same directions that's in the scale handbook. Mm-hmm. And, I've highlighted, put something here. Data strategy criteria. I mean, we've made it just this simple. We expect you to put stuff here. Here's an example of a graphic organizer. Here's an example of a PERT chart. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what they look like, here's an example of one. Obviously, they aren't related to this one. And then, everything that's yellow, put some text there. You may have it in a narrative form, but put it under your headings. It's got to be, this is technical, professional writing. It's not a just narrative that starts at the beginning and goes to the end. It has to have sections and headings. It has to match APA. And this has helped with APA and their formatting, but also it's helped focus their writing. And I've even given them an example of how to write
competencies,
how to write a competency and how to do their references. And this is.
Then they just have to cut and paste into.
They can take what they already had, where they were just writing a narrative that started, with no paragraphs, basically no punctuation, and just cut and paste what you have. And if you don't have something that fits under that heading, that means you didn't have it.
Right.
We got some of them off the ledge. At the end of the second week, we figured out we had some that were going to be jumpers. And so I created this and said, here. Now, I've already told them, I threatened them last week when we were online with them, that I'm going to make them do their own for the APTEL, but Danny may kick me in the shin over that.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with that because it's working and it's not telling them what to do. It's just guiding them in the process. And that with them as busy as they are and with as much as is entailed, I think this guidance, first of all, it helps me tremendously from having to say the same thing over and over and over and over again. So, yeah.
So probably about week 9 we'll bust out the APTEL one, but we'll see.
We're just not going to tell them.
We're just not. Right now, we've told them we're not going to do it, making them sweat and see if they can come up with it on their own.
Feet to the fire.
We're going to look and see what we get in week 9. On that first turn in for the first task of the APTEL, and if it's as poor as it was last time for the APTEL, number 1, that means I'm a really bad teacher, and number 2, we're going to have to make them a template, I guess. That's what we're doing. And so I'm very pleased with the pace of ours, and so we're trying to keep on top of that. We're doing a quicker turnaround on TaskStream, and I'm doing as quick a turnaround as we can do in Blackboard as well. I mean, just going to Blackboard every day. If they're putting stuff in for comments, I'm not telling them what. We're redirecting them back to the rubric. The other night when we were doing a session with ours last week, they were having problems in task 3 with, it says do a literature review and then an annotated bibliography. And I said, well, what's the literature review supposed to have in it? I said, well, that's really simple. let's just go to the grading rubric and look. And here are the 4 things that need to be there, just what I just told you. We didn't make this stuff up. The grading rubric tells you exactly what should be in your literature review. And they were like, oh, that makes sense. And then they put the 4 things in, and it's a paragraph long, and off we went. And they all came in this week, and now they're all on task 4. And so sometimes, you have to direct them back to the rubric. And we've been doing a lot of directing them back to the prompt, directing them back to the rubric, not telling them what it should be or writing it for them, but we're trying to make them self-sufficient learners, is what we're trying to do here. The peer review process is wonderful about that, but they've got to become more familiar with the directions and the grading rubric. And once they kind of catch on to that, I think it will be, Danny's burning the midnight oil, I can tell you. But if you've got add-ons, now here's going to be the second part of this. And, we've made no secret of this. What I'm working on now is eventually maybe some of our out-of-state students won't have to do a task stream portfolio. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But if that's the case, then I'm going to be able to shift some of the money and differentiate coaching 3 semester people versus 5 semester people. For example, this semester I've got to coach 9 tasks in 601 versus somebody who's got a regular master's group who coaches 5 tasks. And so we'd like to be able to differentiate that, because I can tell you right now, teaching and coaching the accelerated, we've got our eye on the clock and the calendar all the time. And that's just, Danny and I talk every day. And it's just, that's every day we're talking about how we can get more efficient, how we can get them go faster, how we can move the work along. That's, and I hate it, but that's the nature of this business now, is this 3 semester is, it's all about pacing.
I agree with that. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. That's doing this process.
Yeah, we're going to have to differentiate the pay, because it becomes a full-time job coaching 9 of these in a semester. 9 tasks. It's 5 from the Appsell and 4 from the Aptel. The everyday thing with these people. So many.
I'm gonna send a bill for my weekend counseling too.
Oh, I know. That's about half of what I was doing.
That's a different hat, Danny.
Yes.
We've got one that will send us stuff at 4 in the morning.
And wants it graded by 5, right?
Right.
That's the truth.
Well, now I don't come back on the air till 4:30, and he was 10 minutes early the other morning. I tell him I'm back on the air at 4:30. I'm off the air from 12:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. You got to give me 4 hours to lay down. That's all I need. And he was so wound up. He sent me the first email at 4:20. He couldn't wait till 4:30. He had to have it in at 4:20, and I was like, he's crazier than I am. But yeah, that's the nature of the beast. So this is what that looks like. I'll be sure to send that to you, and this is what we're going to cover with Site Mentors next week.
So it's okay for us to listen into that too, right?
Oh God, yeah. That's why I sent you the invite.
Okay.
And you can chime right in if there's something I'd love for you to do that. That's why I sent y'all the invite.
Okay.
Hear what we're going to have to say for them. So hopefully it'll be the same session both times. So either time if you can join us, I'd love for you to.
Okay.
So I am trying to make sure that I'm in class right now. Can I call you back?
I'm in the primary. I'm at a poll, so I won't be there. But y'all asked lots of questions.
Yeah. So, but we're trying to keep everybody informed.
Yeah.
I want y'all to know. Well, that wouldn't be hard for y'all to know as much as I do, but I want you to know at least as much as I do. Because
to keep there.
And it will. That'll help us all. One of the things that I wanted to cover with you tonight, I want to quickly talk about Task Stream. I'm going to try to load it. It doesn't like to be preloaded. Let me see if it'll load now. There we go. And I'm going to sign in as a 601 student. And I'm going to sign in as an add-on to start with. All right. You know, they've got the AppSell and the AppTel to go in. Now, they can do their School of Ed dispositions at any time. I'm not sure that they're linked back to you for evaluation. If they get an error message that won't let them do that, that means that they haven't been assigned a person to evaluate that. That would be their CC2 in there. Let me know if you get those. And Seth is supposed to have all of the students linked to you in TaskStream. He's working on load reports again today, trying to make sure your pay is right. And that's a priority with me, is making sure your pay is right. And so we've gone over load reports again this afternoon. And we're meeting with the registrar tomorrow for lunch to make sure that everybody's registered and everybody's going to get their pay. And that's why I had Seth start sending out load reports again yesterday. You should have got one yesterday or today. Check it carefully. Now, remember, some students have dropped, but that's why I keep having him send those load reports out until we get them right. Because I'm not going to play that game of, oh, we'll pay you next semester or we'll catch you later kind of thing. No, there's too much work in this program. You know, there's fees to pay you for your work, and you need to be paid. One of my many character flaws is I don't think about money enough, and so. But the people that work for you, you got to see about theirs. I remember, and I'm sure same y'all were principals, if you had a teacher that came to you and said that I didn't get paid this month or my pay was short, even though you weren't in payroll, you made sure that you went to see about that teacher because that's the right thing to do. That's just the same thing here. So if you get a student says, I can't do my dispositions, I'll get that student linked to you. Now, competency analysis. Here's the trick with competency analysis. Here's the shortcut for the students. When they go to do competency analysis, they should do it either the next to the last or the last week of the semester. They take and copy and paste those competencies that they wrote in AppSell Task 5 and AppTel Task 4. Remember, this is the add-on group.
That's for their competency folio, isn't it?
Pardon?
Isn't that for their competency folio?
It's the same.
This is just where they rate themselves, isn't it?
But they have to write what they did the first time.
Oh, they do?
Yes. Let me
I thought they
you.
just wrote. I thought they just did that at the beginning to see where they were as they started the program.
Right. That's what I thought too.
Right here, they have to explain how it was demonstrated.
But they're not going to have one for all of them.
They will have 12, and then the others, if they're a regular, they'll have 12 from the AppSell. They'll mark the other 9 not met, and that's fine. And if they're add-on, they'll have all 21.
At the end.
So, but they write their explanations. They write those in Task 5 of the AppSell and Task 4 of the AppSell. Right. They can simply copy and paste that narrative into that box, rate themselves as met, and move on.
Okay, because that's not how I understood that analysis. I thought it was a self-assessment of where they thought they were as they start the program, and then they do it again in the last semester to see how their perspectives might have changed. Well, what you're saying, I thought when it all went into the competency folio.
No, that doesn't have to go. In the competency folio, they only have to write me a sentence or two of where the artifact or icon came from. Remember, the competency folio is where we're collecting the old artifacts that we used to have them upload with their narrative. We don't have them do that now. We just have them upload their peer reviews, and their artifacts go into the competency folio. But I like the copy and paste because basically it is a self-reflection. What they're doing in Task 5 of the AppSell and Task 4 is basically a self-reflection of where they are right now.
Sarah, that's the disposition, Dale. The disposition is where they are.
It's where they are in that competence.
Yeah, I think that's in the disposition. Am I right, Dale?
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, that's what I thought. Both of those were self-assessment.
So
in this right here, you can see where it says the candidate. The candidate's explanation of
demonstrated.
Demonstrated.
And that's the same direction that they get in the AppSell and the AppTel and Task 5 and task 4. So it's a copy and paste here. Now, let's go back and look. Let's see if it can go back for me here without crashing. TaskStream does not like Zoom.
So the 12 that they include at the end of their task,
Of app
they
sale.
just cut and paste those, and the ones that they didn't address, they just say not met.
Not met. And it's not a problem.
Okay.
Not a problem. But to get back to Danny's point right here, let's look at SOE dispositions. There's where they do their self-assessment of where they are at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's under SOE dispositions. That's not that.
And they do that each semester.
The
add-ons do.
Yeah.
Not each? Isn't it 1, 3, and 5?
1, 3, and 5. It's each
But the
semester.
add-ons do it each time, right?
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
correct. Semesters 1, 3, and 5. But yes, Danny is exactly right. Where you rate yourself or where you are as a learner, dispositionally is under SOE. Competencies is just a straight copy and paste from their narrative where they wrote them in that narrative. It's just a straight copy and paste.
So Dale, as soon
An
as
original narrative here of where they think they are. Now, don't be too hard on them on this one, on the first one. They don't know where they are. The earlier they do this, I look at some of these and I think, how'd you get in this program? But I have to remember, they're early on in the program, so it's kind of up to you what you'll accept. But I'm not too hard on them on the first one. As long as they made some attempt, I'm good. It's kind of like, we had one that had a nervous breakdown over philosophy of education in 601. And we were like, I finally just told him, you can't be wrong. It's just to make sure that you can use the equipment without hurting yourself. I couldn't be more plain than that. We just want to make sure that you can use Blackboard. That's why we had you do that. Could you upload something in Blackboard?
That was week 1.
So as soon as they have a log on and can get on TaskStream, they really need to have done that.
Yes, they do.
Okay, so
we need to get them because one of the things we find is if there's problems, if they're not linked to an evaluator, I have put out a video and I have sent it to all of them. I've sent it to you, right. And I put it in the intern shell on this year's directions on how to upload your competency folio. Right. It's much different than in the past. And so I have done a new video for that. It's in the Blackboard XM shell right here.
Is the video the setup of the folio?
Yeah, how to set it up.
Okay.
Under Zoom video links. I sent y'all and them one.
It sounded easier.
Okay.
It sounded much easier.
It is. It's much easier than it was before. And so here's how to set it up. And we already found out because I went out and I have one that I have visited every week this semester. Where do you get one of those? I have visited her at her site every week this semester.
She's also the one that I had to counsel with for an hour and a half this weekend.
She's already spent all of her fees for clinical coaching. I can tell you that for the rest of the whole program.
I'm glad you sent me the AIG students because mine seem to be moving right along.
You need one we love her. We love Emily, but you need one like Emily. She'll make you appreciate the rest of them. I can tell you that.
Uh-huh.
She'll beat you down. But so I went and set her folder up for her, and we found out that they hadn't linked it to an evaluator, so they didn't have a request comments button. That's supposed to be fixed now.
And like my TaskStream is not updated. I don't have fall 2017. So if my students are submitting that, I can't see it yet, right?
He says he's working on that. We're after him. Load reports today, and hopefully we supposedly got the last of the load reports ironed out late this afternoon.
Good.
And I hate this. You realize that I'm going to be on campus 4 days this week. And I'm only going to get to travel and visit a student 1 day this week. That's not enough. That's too much office time here. I'm wearing out this chair. But we're going to get those load reports right. Tomorrow is task stream day. We're going to try to make sure that everything is up and running, everything's right in task stream. Those load reports, we finished about 5 this afternoon, supposedly. So if nothing blows up and the meeting goes well with the registrar tomorrow at noon, then we're going to be on task stream tomorrow. First thing in the morning, we're going to be on task stream, making sure it all works. So here, if you get a student who does this, if they go, they set up their folio and their web page, and here's the new one for this year, and they click on communication or any one of them. Let me move this out of the way. And they don't have a request comments button. That means that
where is it?
they aren't linked to an evaluator in TaskStream.
Am I supposed to be seeing that on the screen here?
Yep.
A request comment?
Yep.
Where?
Right here.
It's in the right-hand corner.
Oh,
Right.
that's where my
It
people
might be,
is showing
yeah,
up.
you can move
That's
your
okay.
pictures.
You can move your people out of the way. I just moved mine. So right
Yeah.
here, if
Okay.
when they
Thank
click
you.
on any of these to upload their work, if they're not linked to a evaluator, a commenter, and then you'll be their evaluator. Originally, you'll give them comments. They won't have this button right here.
Okay.
You need to know that. They don't know that they're supposed to be looking for that, but they need to make sure that they have a request, not a publish share. That's nothing. They need a request comments button. And if they don't have it, that triggers us to realize that they're not set up correctly in TaskStream. Remember, Seth's learning TaskStream, and we're having to be patient. He's having to learn load reports and TaskStream and all these things at one time. And
Yeah, I've said a little prayer for him because I know that must be really tough.
Around all us old grumpy men, I can tell you.
But Seth is doing an amazing job.
He's
is.
doing really well,
Yeah.
and
We're
so
working hard at it.
we're happy about that. So that's where they should be. All right, and then the last thing I want to cover is Zoom. All right, let's pretend. Don't watch this part.
I must be doing something wrong with that because sometimes mine say they're not there, but if I click on the file, it's there and people are finding it. So I don't know. There's some little something I must not be doing right, but it's working. But it says it's not.
Yeah.
I haven't recorded one yet.
All right, so you're on Zoom, and you're doing your recording, and when you stop share and end meeting for all, there'll be a little box that pops up on your screen. It's got a little arrow going across, and when it gets done processing, this icon down at the bottom of your screen, which is your file manager icon, if you can see that on my screen, little file folder will start flashing. It won't flash until the video has processed. It's going to process. Your computer is going to process it into an MP4 video, and once it's done, that little folder will start to flash. And when you click on it, you'll have a box like that. Now, it won't say Lamb Mel's Legacy or intern video from this past Sunday. It will always say Zoom-0. Zoom-0. That is your recording. It'll have audio only and playback, and then down below it here, the Lamb Legacy Intern Zoom won't be there. That's what I named mine. Instead of having that name on it, it will say Zoom-0. And so what you have to do is hover your mouse over that Zoom-0, hit your right mouse button. It'll give you a drop-down menu. Go down to rename. Be very careful. Unfortunately, rename is right next to delete. You do not want to delete it. And once you click on rename, then you can name it like Lamb Legacy Intern Zoom 010-117. The session I did this past Sunday went from 2 to 3:45. And so, and then when you click away from it, the name will be there, and then you just close it. Don't be afraid. It will still be there. Just close it. Now, you have stored that thing, but now the trick's going to be to find it later. And I'm going to show you the trick to find it. So you go ahead and you open up your YouTube page. If you don't have one, you have to have a Google account, a Gmail account to create you a page of your own. And you know this one's mine because it's got the D up here. You create a page of your own. It's very easy creating your own YouTube page, but you have to have a Gmail account. And they're free. You can establish a Gmail account, then you can come and get your own page. Once you get to this page, you click on the upload button right here. And when that turns red, when you hover your mouse over it, you're ready to upload. Make sure that the setting right here is on public, not private. And so then you click on that, and now we got to go find it. I've got to go find my legacy intern meeting from Sunday. So the first thing I do is I go to Documents. And there will be a Zoom folder that's been created by Zoom. It made that folder for me, and I click on that, and I open it up, and I look for the date now. I look for the date that I made that recording. And so the date of this recording is 10/1, and so when I open it up, there it is. I click on it, open, and it will start uploading for me. And it will tell me what my link is, and I can copy my link and send it from here. And once I have that copied, I hit the publish button, and it will publish it as soon as it gets through processing. Now this one's not going to process because I've already uploaded it. But that's the way you get your link. It generates your link, and you publish it. And you can send, I always just go ahead and send the link out and tell them it'll be live in 30 minutes or whatever it is. And so, and then you can I take these links and I post them in the, when I do a class meeting, I post it on that week's class, I'll post the video. What I do is I take and copy that link. I email it to the students. Here's the copy, or just like tonight, that's how I'll email this one to you. Let me close this thing. Leave this page so that will stop. And so what I'll do is say it's a class video. Now, if that's an intern video, I just come to the intern shell, Zoom video links, and you can see I've got several of these in here. I post all of them where they can go back. I send them to the students. Classes, every time I do a class meeting, like say for 603, I'll go back to the week that we were in when we recorded it. Last week was week 4.
That's in your course shell, right?
In my course shell right there is that Zoom that we did on that week. Mm-hmm. I go ahead and upload it. And the way you do that is go to Build Content, Web Link, post the link that I just copied. There it is, and I name it, and then submit it, and they can watch that session again. So that's how you get your links. You got to create a YouTube page. You got to let Zoom will process the video. Once the video is processed, you go in and rename it. If you don't, they'll all be Zoom 0. And you won't know which one's which.
Yeah.
So you have to rename it.
Public, but aren't we? I thought we were doing like unlisted or something.
Yeah, that's what the instructions said, and that.
Yeah, but we're having problems with that. We're getting student feedback that I can't get it to open, or it won't let me in. And
that's right.
So you have to do public.
I just do public. Nobody's going to watch them but us. And hopefully there isn't anything on there that would embarrass us to begin with.
I hope not.
So I've tried the unlisted. Students always, half of them will tell me I can't get in. It won't let me in. And so I just make mine public.
Do you think that has something to do with the stuff that Seth is doing, and then straightened out, it'll work better?
the best thing what I have figured so far is if the people, it seems to me, the people that, the last one that we had trouble with this was Emily, of course, and she uses the MacBook.
I do too.
And what I have found, every time I get somebody that tells me that they can't get into one of these, I ask them, what kind of computer are you using? It without fail, they tell me a MacBook.
Well, I've got a MacBook Pro, so.
Yeah, and so does Emily, and that's I was up there last Thursday on my regular Thursday visit to Emily, and I'll drive by this Thursday as I always do. When I'm going to Chapel Hill on Thursday, I'll stop by and see Emily, either coming or going, according to whether she's screaming or crying or both. I mean, if it's both, I have to get there early. If it's just one or the other, I'll wait till later in the day. But I'll go by and see her. But yeah, the last time we went, and sure enough, she couldn't upload one that was unlisted, and so I did one for her that was public, and it popped right up. And so now I will be the first to admit I am not an Apple person in terms of technology. We don't use Apple here on campus, and we didn't use Apple at CMS. All the training sessions and everything that I've put together over the years, I've always used Microsoft, and so I can use one enough. I was over in the library yesterday. Believe it or not, I went to the library yesterday. It was on the way to the lunchroom, so I thought I'd stop in. But and they have MacBook Pros over in the library to use, and I was over there working for a few minutes yesterday. I didn't walk all the way back over here and then go back, and so I sat down. And I mean, I can operate one. I mean, I can make it work, but I don't understand the technology of them as well as I do these. I can usually figure out a problem on one of these, but on that one, not so much. If it works fine, if it doesn't, fine. I can't tell you why, but I can generally tell you what's wrong. I know all the error codes and those kinds of things on Microsoft-based machines that have Intel processors. I know what if you get an error code. We had a student kept getting an error code, and it was a 404 code, and that's your computer. That's not our. That's you need to go in and clean out your browsing history and cookies and all that stuff. And as soon as he did it, he was able to upload the program. But I'm not the expert on Apple. But all I know is if you'll make them public, everybody can get to them, and nobody else goes in and views them anyway. So I don't have a problem with that. All right, so that's the way that you do that. That's the way that they can get those links. I would suggest that anytime that you record something, that you go ahead and post it, just like there's last week's lesson in 603 for session, for week 5. These are the things we covered, and here's the video that goes along with it. And I have all the things that I'm going to cover each week in my weekly shell, my weekly tab, and then you can go in and view the materials, but then you can view the actual class lesson that I did if you didn't join me. And so I do that every week. I'm still old school. I come on every week with mine. We have a standing time. I come on every week with mine, whether, all 15 weeks. I'm with them every Wednesday night at 7. I try to cut it off at an hour. Last week, we got so excited, I think we went an hour and a half. They had so many questions. We covered incident reporting and code of conduct, the disciplinary data reporting manual, and they were so excited about that and had never heard of those things and had a million questions. We went an hour and a half, and I don't like to go that long, but we did last week, and so now that's just how I do mine, and I meet mine with my interns, either with the new ones or the old ones every week. I saw a T-shirt. I've got it right here in the catalog. I'm going to order one for Dr. Hamilton. He's our organizational expert. But I love this T-shirt, and the T-shirt says, "Don't complain about the results that you didn't get from the work that you didn't do." And so that's kind of my philosophy on all this stuff in Males is, I don't have the right to complain if I didn't work hard enough for these students. And see, the good thing is I'm working with Danny, and he works harder than I do. He's the one that drives me to go faster and harder and more. But, I don't know. I want people to get what they paid from Gardner Webb and from us. I want them to feel like that we provided them what we said we would, and we gave them what, sometimes we have to drag them along with us kicking and screaming. But in my doctoral class, my DEOL weekend class, this is my weekly gig. My weekend gig is DEOL. I teach statistics. And so, one of my assignments this week was I have a 7:30 overflow class this semester, and so we were looking at why colleges can't be more like a firm. And the argument is in my opinion, if you don't keep your eye on customer satisfaction as well as the product on the other end, that you'll go out of business. If people don't come to you for your services because you didn't give them service, they're not required to come and pay you. Or if the product that you produce on the other end is not valuable out in the workplace, you can't stay in business. And so I guess that's kind of where I am in that, I don't expect everybody to work the hours that I do. That's not the point. The point is that we need to give them what they, if we see they need more help, we have to give it, or if we have to find a way. And that's kind of the theme of tonight is the college is in financial difficulty on the undergraduate side, and what keeps, and I love the idea of this place more than I love the place some days, but I love the idea of a Christian education and a Christian campus. We want to keep the place viable. And so we're trying to do our part, but bigger and more important than that is I want us to do our part in serving our students, whether we're, millions ahead or millions behind on the budget is immaterial to me. We need to provide what students need. They came to us for a reason. And so that's my soapbox tonight. All right, I'm done.
Hey, Dale, I've got a question. Can you show me Blackboard? I still can't find these APSLs that a few of them say they've uploaded. And I don't know if you're getting to them before me.
Me too. I'm listening.
Okay.
All right. I probably beat you in. All right.
Yeah.
But you can go back and find them anyway. All right.
You got to check it every day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grade here in about 10 minutes when I start processing my video. It takes about 30 minutes. In that 30 minutes, you see I've got 8 things up here on my screen that I'm gonna go in and
to see where you got 8 things. You go so fast, I can't figure out what the hell you're doing.
Right up here at the top. If you'll keep this cleaned out.
Right up at the top?
Right up here. It's probably in the pictures. Right next to my name, since lunchtime today when I graded last, I've had 8 things to come in.
I don't have that coming up. I have never seen that on my screen. Have you seen that, Rachel?
It's on the new, when you go into the new Blackboard.
On the new Blackboard?
There's nothing there. I see the number, and the number said 5, but I don't know where those 5 things are.
Yeah, because I probably beat you to them. All right, so here's where you go. All right.
Well, stay
away. All right.
Give me till midnight.
Yes.
Go to Grade Center.
I did that.
Go to Needs Grading.
Needs Grade.
Yeah.
And anything that's been posted this afternoon or has been posted for one of y'all will be in here.
Yeah, 3 of them are mine.
None of them are mine.
So if you don't get to them tonight, I will.
I will tonight.
And so now Tracy is mine. And she's
but I want to see the work so that what they're telling me.
What I do is
click on her name.
I know that they're really doing it.
Click on her name. And there's the work.
Her name isn't there because the work is not there.
All right, but I'm going to show you how to go back and find that if you think that she has submitted something. So right here is hers. All right, and so I'll review that tonight, and I will score it. And so let me go back out. Let me go back out here. All right. If you come here and you don't see it, you have 2 options. All right. Go to Discussion Board Student Review of Draft Task. They may have put it in Discussion Board. And if they have, I've got 2 right here
No, go up here to where task 1, because I still want to see the task 1 on some of these people.
All right. Let me go back. Now, there's 2 places where task 1 are. So I'm going to go back up here. And if they put it in here, you click on AppSell Task 1 Drafts, and it's going to give you a list of everybody that's put something in there. And you can go to the next page.
But there's just a very few people on the next page. There's not nearly enough people to be all the students we have.
Well, there's all of them. Now, they may have put it in up here for your review only, and if they did that, what you do is if it's not here and it wasn't under needs grading, come over here to Grade Center.
It wasn't here and it wasn't there and it wasn't there. I mean.
Yep. Come to Full Grade Center, and then you should have all the names here on the left. Find the student's name.
I could just cry.
And then go across. Let's say DeWald is yours. And there's somebody's already graded his AppSell Task 1, but you want to look at it. If you'll hover over that 100 box, a little arrow will come up, View Grade Details, and it will take you to the View Grade Details, View Attempts, and you can look at his work.
Where?
Right there. It'll pop right up. It will pop right.
Okay, go over to the drop down on the left and show us again. It seems like you're saying there's 3 possible places.
There is. There's 3 places. Either it's under needs grading, and if it's already been graded, it will be in Full Grade Center. If they said, I put this in, and you go and you don't see it under needs grading, just simply go to Full Grade Center, go to their name in Grade Center, go across to what they told you they put in, say it's AppSell Task 2. You hover over that box and a little arrow will come up. Click on it, View Grade Details.
So all these other people have not submitted anything, is that right?
Not here. They may have put it in they may have put it in discussion board, and they may have put it in the shell for their class. This is just the intern shell. Many of the classes also have drop boxes for them to put their work in as well. But
I don't have access to that.
That's correct. That's why we told you to drive the traffic here. View attempts once you go in, and then it'll pop up. There's the work. So my suspicion is that some of them are going into their class shell, and they're dropping it in drop boxes in there where only their instructor could see it. That's why Danny and I are very clear when they go in, we ask them to put it both in Danny's shell and in my shell.
Mm-hmm. I told them not to.
That's what we tell them. When you put it in one, you got to put anything you put in one, you put in the other. We both have shells. He has a shell so he can go in and look at it as well, and then they put it in my shell and this, or I can. See, this student right here under needs grading, she's mine. And I'll guarantee you she put it in Danny's shell as well. And so I can go back to needs grading, and I see that Tracy Pratt Dixon, who is my intern from Mooresville, she's at Mooresville Middle School. Tracy has put hers in, and there it is. She put it in Danny's shell as well. And so you need to encourage them to use the intern shell so you can see it. So if it's not under needs grading in the Grade Center, you can go to Full Grade Center and track their name down. And if it's not there, the only other place it can be in the intern shell is under discussion board.
Now the full grade, when you go down to the grade, and then when you get on down,
you can go to Full Grade Center. You can find
needs grading. Okay, the needs grading, and how do you get it to drop down to the next level?
If it's been there and somebody's already graded it, there will be 100. And if you'll hover over that box, a little arrow will pop up like magic. Let me go to another one to make sure you.
Okay, I'm not. Once I get there, I can understand what's going on over there. It's on the left, because I don't think I've ever seen that little place that below the full grade thing.
View grade details when you
the grade center, and then the full
take
grade.
inside grade details and then view attempts, and it will pop it right up for you. Even though it's already been graded, it'll come right back up, and you can look at it again. And you can leave comments or override the grade, either one.
Okay.
Leave your comments if you want to, and they'll come right back to the student. And once you click on that box, you can leave the score, and then you can type in what you'd like to type in, and that goes straight to the student. So, again, there's 3 possible places in the shell here.
It's the grade center thing that I don't.
And you can always go to Grade Center, and even if it needs grading, there'll be a little bubble there, a little bubble rather than a grade, and you can access any work that's been put in for a coach through Grade Center except what comes into discussion board. And so, really you can just go to Grade Center and hunt them down manually, or you can come to discussion board. And once you come to discussion board, you click on whichever task it is that they said I put in task 1. You click on that, the name of that task 1, and it'll show you everybody's. And then once you get there, all you have to do is hover over the actual name of the work, and it'll pop it right back up for you as well. And there it is. You go back here, AppSell Task 1 for review. Click on that.
Yeah, I see your comments.
And once you expand the page,
I'll have to go on and see if I can find it. I've just never, I've done the grade and then the needs grade, but then the thing that's under that I've never seen. So I've got to figure out how to get that.
And so there it is. And so I can pull up anything they put in, whether I graded it, somebody else graded it, doesn't matter. Anything they put in, there is a way to go back and find it. It's fairly
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
And it's not that hard. And that's why I said, these machines.
Once you know how, it's real easy.
Yep. It is.
So I just need to go in and try to fumble with it again.
So,
But
the purpose of this discussion board is that students can share work across classes. We've got a lot of that going on. Friends and other folks that they signed up that don't happen to be in the same class, they can use this. And they know that I'm always there, and so they can come straight to me through this, and so they can come to you. And so.
But the part that, stop right there. See, this is the part, I get to the grade center, I've seen the needs grade, but in order to get to the full grade center, you're saying hover over the needs grading?
No, when you come here and you click on Grade Center, it gives you an expanded one. That full Grade Center should be there.
Okay, I just don't remember. Okay, and then
when you click on Grade Center and it gives you the drop down, the full Grade Center will be there.
Okay,
and you click on it, and it takes you to the student list.
Okay.
And then you can look by student.
Yeah. Okay. I will
slide up and down, and you can see now. See right there. There's one.
This is one that needs to be graded, right?
Yep.
And that's one of my students. That's one of my students. Yeah.
Okay. She attempted, but for some reason it looks like. Let's see what happened. Let me view her attempt here. That was just her EVA. She selected the wrong answer. Oh no. She administratively withdrew from the course by accident, looks like.
Well, no, her name was on my list this afternoon.
Yeah, I know, but she was supposed to check yes, and she checked no. So it was binary. She had 2 choices. It's 50-50 that she'd get the right one. So she.
So,
But that's how you get there. The Grade Center, when you get there, you click on it and expand it, and simply do full Grade Center, and then just track them down from there.
How can I help her fix that so that it's correct?
She's as long as she's in your class.
She's on my list.
She's in here, so she's fine.
Okay.
We just overrode that. And so you can see if they put stuff in, and of course there won't be anything way over there, but you can scroll down and see, how many of them have been using this and how many of them have put things in. And again, if you got Angela Jones and you want to see her app sell one that somebody's already graded, you hover over that box with the 100 and that little arrow will come up. You click on it, you grade it.
Okay. Once I get there, I'll be fine. I'm pretty persistent. I'll keep working on it.
And it'll pop up their work, and there it is.
Okay.
Pretty easy once you figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, y'all better hurry. I'm going to jump in here just in a few minutes to start grading these things. If y'all going to beat me in, you better hurry.
I've got 2 more calls tonight, so you got to wait for me.
All right. I'm just going to grade Tracy's tonight, and then I'm going to move on. I'll leave the other ones until tomorrow. I just came in today.
All right. Good job.
I try to leave them.
I'll try to do it in the morning. I've got to start getting my man ready.
All right. Okay. We're done. I just got the alarm went off. It's time to close it down. All right.
Okay.
Join me next week if you can for the site supervisor meetings. Again,
and you will send us the link so we can listen.
And I will send you the link. And so I will email you this link later this evening, and I'll also post this on the intern shell under the video links on the intern shell. This one right here, Zoom video links. I'll put this one and I'll email it to you. All right. I'll see y'all again soon. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Dale. Good night, girls and Danny.